Jing, King of Bandits was a manga series written by Yuichi Kumakura that was also later adapted into an anime. It follows Jing, a legendary thief who, along with his wisecracking bird partner Kier, pulls off heists and stuff. Think Lupin III, but with more of a fantasy fiction twist on it. There's a monster collecting gimmick attached to this one, because it's a late 90s Game Boy RPG, so it had to be shoehorned in there somewhere, right? There are over 200 types of monsters to look for, which you collect through in-game events and train them up to acquire various abilities, all standard stuff. The game focuses around 3-on-3 battles, whereby you and your bird can also fight, which is quite an interesting variant. I don't remember Ash Ketchum getting involved in the battles, do you? I'd maybe put Dorobou JING somewhere halfway between a monster collector and a traditional turn-based RPG, as once a monster is in your party, the battles play out in a very classical manner. Angel and Devil versions might suggest to you a kind of good versus evil vibe, but it's not really. Like Pokemon Red and Blue, it really only changes the creatures you'll encounter. It'd be hard to recommend this game though to either fans of Pokemon style or Dragon Quest style RPGs, unless you possess a strong grasp of Japanese reading. Maybe not even then, honestly. There are tons of cutscenes, almost obnoxiously so actually, whereby through a bunch of probably unnecessary exposition, you'll get told the story. Now that's fine in small amounts, and especially being an anime tie-in, you do often find the quantity of text is higher, but this is way too much, and the game wrests control away from you so often it's really off-putting. You could just be walking around a new town and you'll enter a building in the hopes of, being able to explore a bit, only to be flung straight into a battle that you probably didn't heal up for. Then, after you triumph in that battle, the game will forcibly whisk you off to another town or something, furthering the story along, sure, but taking away from the player the freedom to check out stuff. One of the quintessential appeals of a role-playing game, in my opinion. Even just talking to NPCs can progress the story beats before you're even ready to. It goes against all your full clearing RPG instinct, and I don't like it. You're kinda straying into visual novel territory at that point, which, thinking about it, might have been the idea. On the surface, the music seems pretty well composed, with plenty of variation across overworld themes and battle music. However, when you actually listen to it, the majority of the songs comprise of fairly short loops of around 16 bars. At least none of it is irritating, but in RPGs, you kind of want the soundtrack to take you somewhere, or at the very least enhance what you're experiencing in the overworld, and it doesn't really. Kind of a disappointment. Graphically, the in-game part, what you ever see of it anyway, is on the good side of average, I'd say, with some decent use of color and some creative drawings in the enemy design, but yeah, nothing's massively impressive here. The anime bits are better, with some pretty cool full-screen images, although even then they could have been brought to life a bit more with some animated parts. Similar to the music, I guess, in that regard, it all feels a bit static, never really going anywhere. Minor gripes maybe, but I do like my immersion in RPGs. Dorobou JING gets a lot of surface stuff right. It doesn't ever push massively against the established boundaries in terms of presentation, but you don't mind that so much if the gameplay is there. I can't really wholeheartedly recommend the game though, even for fans of the genre who don't mind a bit of a translation slog, as when you actually get into the substance of it, there's not enough story there to sustain the sheer landslide of text you're inflicted with. It's too much. Fans of the manga, sure, have at it. This is probably for you anyway. If, however, you're just after a fun, lesser-known RPG for the Game Boy Color, this isn't it. Stick around, though, if that is what you're looking for. I've got something pretty special next week just for you that you're bound to love.